Thero Swamin Hansa, I respectfully invite you to start this Dhamma discussion with homage to Lord Samma Sambuddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Everyone, Sarana, everyone. Welcome to another discussion of the discussion series done by Abhaya Arana Meditation Center. Today we are going to discuss a very important and also a very deep concept in Buddhism, which is the concept of me, the concept of ownership, and the concept of the soul, or one unit, or one unit that is seen throughout a time period, which we called a soul or self. So before starting the discussion, let us remind ourselves about all the meritorious deeds that we might have done during this life as well as in our previous lives. We would not be able to listen to Dhamma if we haven't done any meritorious deeds, or we haven't gathered any meritorious power regarding a Buddha Sasana. So, since we know that this is occurring due to dependent origination or Paticcasamuppada, we have generated many merits during the samsaric journey by doing wholesome deeds towards Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And the amount of meritorious power that is generated through these actions are what is creating this special occasion. This is how you are able to listen to a very rare Dhamma that is resurfaced many years, resurfaces in many after many years. So let us remind all the meritorious deeds that we might have done during this samsaric journey, and may they agglomerate together, creating the perfect environment for us to understand the Supreme Dhamma, eliminating all the sufferings, pain, lamentation, despair, and all the negative emotions, creating or generating the pathway to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing with sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also, since we have been associating with Buddha Sasanas, of course we have done wholesome deeds, but since we are people, individuals with ignorance, especially at that time, we might not have understood this supreme Dhamma, otherwise we would not be in this samsaric journey today. So since we were with avidya, we were with ignorance, we might have done various unwholesome acts towards the triple gems, Arya individuals. So let us acknowledge our faults. Let us promise ourselves that we are not going to do those unwholesome acts again. in Buddha Sasana, acknowledging our faults and promising ourselves that we are not going to do that again is the forgiveness. And now we are seeking forgiveness in front of Supreme Buddhas that we are not going to do unwholesome acts towards Supreme Buddha, Supreme Dhamma, Supreme Sangha, as well as any sentient being in the universe. Accept this with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So today's topic is going to be deep, but a very important one. And also, this is actually the basis for all the sufferings. We call it asmimana. So when somebody attains Sotapanna state, when somebody's eyes of wisdom are opened, in Dhamma it says that the person is able to attain Nibbana without anybody's help. So even if he did not get any advice from other Kalyana Mittas or other seniors or other Arya individuals, that individual who has already become Sotapanna is able to complete the rest of the pathway by his own. So this person should know the exact thing or exact pathway until the end. Of course, he has not gone or completed the journey, but he knows where to go, knows the pathway. So these are the last steps of the pathway. It is true that we might not be able to climb those last steps right now, but there's a possibility that it can happen as well. But however, we have to know these are the last steps we have to climb. And it helps our vipassana as well when we are practicing Arya pathway. So the concept of self, you feel that you are one big unit, you were born on one day, and you know that you will die on some day, and in between, you have this idea, I am living, and I have a soul or something that prevails throughout that time period without getting destroyed. Some people think at the death, that uniform thing which lasted for maybe 10 years, 20 years, depending on your lifetime, can be 80, 90 years, but at the end of death, that got destroyed. You are no longer there anymore. And some believe that is not the case. You would not die. Only your body would die. You would live. And this is forever. You would either go to heaven or you would either go to hell, and you would be living there. And depending on the viewpoints of different individuals, they would have this mindset that this life or this soul is undestructible, invincible. It is forever. It is there forever. That would be the other end. So there are two ends. One is the end of this life. This is the end. And the soul would die. There's nothing after the death. However, both of them, both those parties have this idea while you are living, there's something throughout this lifetime that lasted without changing throughout the lifetime. And you call that me or self. Now, there's nothing wrong with using that word or using that sound, because in different languages they use different sounds to give that same feeling. In Sinhala we call it mama. In English we call it self, me, I am. These are used depending on the instance. And in other languages they use different sounds to express this feeling. But there's something hidden in this sound which we have to get rid of if we want to get rid of the suffering and if we want to get rid of this sansaric journey. It is okay to use this sound for communication purposes. Without using that sound, you would not be able to communicate. So we are not going to eliminate that part. We are going to see the fault or the hidden problem, which is actually it is hidden in that sound, but it is not just a sound. So we'll do a small experiment here. You are sitting on one chair and your best friend is sitting in front of you. Now close your eyes and imagine that you lost your consciousness and you lost your memory as well. You forgot who you are. And when you wake up, your eyes are opening and you are seeing, now you don't know who that person is because your memory is erased, but you are seeing your body, previously it was yours, your body in front of you. When you want to talk, your friend's mouth is moving and his voice is coming out. When you want to hear, you are hearing from your friend's ears. When you want to move your limbs, your friend's body is moving. Now, the concept or the idea of me is shifted to the best friend. Now, you would ask, who is the person in front of me? Now, you are calling that body me. That is the delusion. That is what we are going to focus on today. Now, initially, now come back to the original self, and now you are calling this body and mind me because this is what you are able to control. And you have this idea you can control this body according to your expectations, according to your wanting. Actually, what is hidden under this idea of me is that we have to eliminate, that is coming out of ignorance, is you can control this body according to your wanting. So you do things expecting this would happen. You do things expecting this should not happen. You raise your hand with the expectation that it should happen. And you do various things that that these things should happen and these things should not happen. But it does not work that way all the time. But since it happens most of the time, you are deceived by a perfectly working dependent origination of Paticcasamuppada. This is a this is like a machine that works when all the causes are aligned. When all the causes are aligned together, the effect is inevitable. It happens. You don't have to do anything to get the effect. But since your expectation also corresponds with this result, you think your wanting, your expectation is what actually generated the result, forgetting everything about the Paticcasamuppada or dependent origination, causes and effects. So this is the problem. Now that is why you shifted from your body to the other one's body, your best friend's body, and you just started calling it me. But because you have lost your memory, if you had your memory, then you would be confused. Why am I not being able to control my body? Why am I in another one's body? So there's something called me who has gone from one body to the other, and this thing which has gone from one body to the other is able to control things according to your expectation, and the expectation also generated in that thing which has moved from one body to another. That is what one gets, one concludes depending on their experience. And mind you that these experiences are coming from five senses, which are also a construction of avidya or ignorance. Ignorance created these eyes and images, both of them, sounds and uh, no ears, nose and smells, tongue and tastes, body and touches, mind and thoughts. Everything was created by avidya, because we are in a world, we are in a universe which was created by avidya and which is being created by avidya and which will be created by avidya. And our aim is to see the fault in a perfectly created system, and we need wisdom for that. If we have wisdom, we are able to see these small problems in the creation. And through these small problems, we would be able to see the biggest problem in our lives, which we have not seen throughout this samsaric journey. So now we have to understand this concept of something which is valuable, which can be controlled according to your wanting or expectation, which is full of essence. There's something in that which moved from one body to the other. Now we have to dig deeper and find out. We have to use the method of division, which is called Bhagava. Now we are going to see, we are going to isolate that special part which we thought that moved from one body to other. So we'll use this method of division and for this matter, there are various ways that you can do this. You have the 5 aggregate method, you have the dhatu method of division by dhatu, and also you have the Paticcasamuppanna method. And we'll use the dhatu or the 6 dhatu method. They are Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, Akasa, and Vinyana. There are 6 components. Now we are going to divide our body and mind to these 6 components and see and we'll try to isolate that part which is valuable, which is full of essence, which is actually able to control according to our expectation. And this is the most important part that we think, and the name which is given to that part, usually what is given is a soul. Now we are going to see whether there are something like that. So before doing that, we'll just divide something easier, because to get the context how this is done. So let us deassemble a bicycle. So when we are going to deassemble a bicycle, now what we are seeing is a bicycle, one big unit, which is of course valuable. It has a value in the market, the bicycle. And for a person in need, bicycle is valuable. So we are separating the bicycle into its parts. Now we are removing the seat, we are removing the handle, we are removing the cogwheels, chain, pedals, wheels, and everything. And we are not able to isolate the bicycle. The one thing called bicycle could not be isolated by separating the bicycle into parts. We are able to isolate a cogwheel, but not a bicycle. We are able to isolate the frame, but not a bicycle. Then again, we are assembling it back into its normal form. We are putting back the seat, we are putting back the handle, we are putting back the wheels and everything, and now you can see a bicycle. So we did not apply a bicycle into the system. We just applied cogwheels, handles, and everything. But there's a bicycle at the end. Now remember this, remember this example. And another example, you have a mountain of sand, and this mountain of sand is created with small sand particles. Now we are going to isolate the mountain of sand. We are removing sand particle by particle. This is a sand particle, not a mountain of sand. This is also a sand particle. We are removing sand particles, and all the mountain is gone since we are removing the sand particles. And on the other side, there's a mountain of sand. But we did not remove a mountain. We just removed particles. This example also explains the same thing. So how does a bicycle or a mountain of sand came to life? When the necessary parts are kept or adjusted or applied in necessary places, that creates a delusional or illusion that there's a different entity or item, and a different item is being seen when these spare parts or the parts of the bicycle are assembled or applied in its necessary places. Again, it's the same for the mountain of sand as well. When everything is put together, the illusion that it creates gives a different meaning. Just like that, have these two examples in your mind and use these examples because it is easier. Because when it comes to our mind and body, the avidya, the ignorance is very strong, so it is hard to understand it straight away. That's why we use two other examples which were in the environment, which is easier for us to understand. Now, it's the same example that we are going to apply to our body and mind. And we are going to, just like we separated the bicycle into its parts, we are going to use a method. And in these methods, we are going to separate this system into 6 parts. Patavi. Patavi is the hardness, hard nature. It's actually a quality or a nature which was actually created with avidya, ignorance. The reason what the quality of patavi or the hardness is actually the main reason for the occurrence is moha. Now there are 6 components that created this world, which are lobha, dosa, moha, and alobha, adosa, amo. Lobha, dosa, moha are defilements of course, the negative side, which creates the negative side of the world, suffering side, derogatory realms, and everything. And alobha moha creates the blissful side of this. Blissful in the sense, when you are seeing with wisdom, there's no way are blissful, but when we are talking in lay terms, this creates alobha moha creates the blissful side. Deities, the realms of deities, the planes of Brahmas and human realm and everything is created and maintained by these causes, alobha, dosa, moha. And actually, these are these things or these 31 planes of existence are created with. Again, we can divide it into Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, Akasa, and Vijnana. So there's a connection. Lobha dosa moha, alobha dosa moha created these 6 items, especially the main 4 items. We are going to see the main 4 items: Apo, Tejo, Vayu, and Patavi. So the hardness. What created the hardness? Moha. So I think we have discussed this analogy before, but we'll go through it again because it helps to understand how hard the Patavi nature came to existence because of moha. A plane has crashed in the air. Now it is not working, or the plane engine has stopped, and the pilot has jumped up out of the plane with a parachute, and his parachute, after some time, started malfunctioning, and now he is free falling. But luckily, he landed on a, 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 a tree which has a cushioning effect, and now he's again free falling, and he's free falling from branch to branch, and he latched onto one of the branches, and this is at night. You cannot see anything. There's pitch darkness, and you are grabbing onto and this pilot is grabbing onto a branch of a tree, and he does not know what is underneath. There could be a hell, or there could be rocks or sharp objects. There could be some predators. What, you don't know what is down below. Because you don't know, you hang on to that branch with all the effort you have. And when the sun rises, the next morning you just had few hours to hang on to, and the sun started rising up, and you see that there's only couple of feet, 1 to 2 feet from the ground, and you are just hanging on a branch that is very near to the ground, and there's nothing hazardous down below. So this is an analogy. The sun rising is like the wisdom. Darkness is like the ignorance, and that hanging onto a branch of a tree is moha. See, you did not hang on to that branch. You did not get attached to that branch because you like the branch. That is lobha. Attaching onto something because you crave for it is lobha. This is not because of liking. This is because of pure moha, or pure ignorance, lack of understanding. Because if you had the understanding that there's only few couple of feet from the ground, you would not hang on to that useless branch. Just like that, see that Patavi nature, hardness. This is the hardness, the quality. This is a quality in the mind that creates the Patavi nature in the external world. Hardness. And this starts by creating Patavi Bhuta, which becomes Patavi Mahabhuta. Now it condensifies the quality into physical components. And you can see the Patavi Dhatu at the end. And the Patavi Dhatu is more in a rock, in soil. So we call it earth or soil. Now, the next thing is Apo. Apo is again because of lobha, stickiness. Apo, the nature of Apo is the quality which binds things together. Two things are attached by the quality of Apo. You get a cement powder in your hand and you crush it into your fist. When you open your fist, they get back to its original form, which is powder. There's nothing changed. But if you add some water and if you crush it in your hand and then try to after some time, if you try to crushing it again, you get a stone made of cement, not powder. Why? Because you added The Apo quality is more in water. It has the stickiness. That's why when you put your hand into a glass of or a jug of water and get it out, there's a layer of water on your hand because it has the stickiness. It is able to stick things together. That's why we use water when we construct things. In the construction industry, they use water for making concrete and everything. So this is the nature. And this nature of Apo actually came from lower quality. This is also a quality. And this is the quality in the mind for valuable things. You're craving for these valuable things and you are getting attached to these valuable things. Now, not like the other Apo quality, this is because of craving. This is because of value. This attachment is different. Now, that is the reason for Apo. And the reason for Tejo is the Dvesha, the anger, hate, rage, revenge. Actually, Dvesha is a umbrella term for all these negative emotions. So when you have dosa, you feel the fiery nature in your mind, in your body, especially in your chest area and your face. You can see that you are shivering, you are so angry, you feel like burning. Now that is the quality that created this Tejo nature, which is actually about energy. See, you have a lot of energy in your body when you get angry. A sword that is heavy, normally you would feel the heaviness of a sword because it is made of metal. But when you are angry, when you want to harm somebody, or when you are going to the war, don't feel that heaviness because you are full of energy. So that is the nature of Tejo, energy. And energy is more in flame, in fire. That's why it can burn everything out. See, it corresponds very well. The meaning, our emotions, and what it actually does. The Tejo. It also destroys things. Our mind, when it is angry, also destroys things. So that is Tejo. And the last one is Vayu. Vayu is created because of Alobha, Adosa, Amoha, which is the opposite of Lobha. Opposite of Lobha is Alobha. Opposite of Dosa is Adosa. And opposite of Moha is Amoha. So opposite means they are less. In that these three bad negative qualities are less and reduced to it. Because of that, it creates Alobha Desambha. When you have Alobha, instead of um, latching onto things without giving it to anybody, you like giving, you are generous. That is Alobha. When you are angry, you hurt people. You you say bad things. You say words that cut like a knife. But when you are adosa, you don't do that. You are kind and caring and you are helping. You have a helping mindset. And when you have amoha, just not like moha, you just not hang on to things with utter foolishness. You just let it go. And you see through the problem, just like you have a light that can see through darkness. That is amoha. When these three items or these three natures of the mind are combined together, you have alobha dosa moha. And that creates vayo nature. See, the vayo or the air does not attach to anything. It is very flexible. When somebody tries to hurt you, you just you become flexible. You're not like a straight pillar. You are becoming flexible. You say, okay, I'll offer you this option, that option, and you're trying to back up. Again, when somebody asks for something, can I have this? You just give it to them because you are generous, because of allowable. See, you are flexible. You get the flexible nature. Again, amoha, because of amoha, you just hang on to things. So there's this saying in um, Sinhala, there's a saying with with Sinhala people called Sinhalese people, and they say, dog doesn't eat hay and it does not give it to the donkey as well, or donkey or the bull, because the cow or the bull likes eating hay, which is the remaining part of after cutting paddy. But dog does not want that. Dogs do not eat that. But because of its moha, and maybe it can have the um, loba as well, but initially because of moha, it does not let the cow reach that hay. When it tries to eat it, it barks at the cow and chase it away. Just like that, you are rigid when you have moha. But when you get rid of that quality, you become flexible. Just like air. Air does not attach to something. It moves freely. If the pressure is high on one end, it just moves from that end to the other one, where the pressure is less. It goes according to pressure gradient without any conflict. That is vayo. And this flexible nature is more in gas. That is why we say vayo, and we refer gas, we refer to vayo as gas. Now we know Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi were created by our mind actually. And this Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi together with are there in these non-living objects. Only Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi and Akasa. Of course, the Akasa is the space which it occupies. Space is infinite, and that space, which is infinite, is called Akasa. And the normal objects, since they occupy a space, they have Akasa, and they are made of Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi. They have these five elements. And for living objects, Apart from these five, we have Vijnana, a component called Vijnana as well. And we'll go through that later. So, Vijnana is actually, if I tell you briefly, it is about consciousness. You're conscious. Now, stones, trees, houses, they are not conscious, but living things like animals, humans, and other living beings are conscious. Their consciousness, level of consciousness varies according to the amoha level they have in their systems. If they are more wise or more the, if they have the amoha chaitasika or amoha in their minds, they have a higher consciousness. They are able to think rationally with logic and can get into good conclusions. But if they have less amoha or they are full of moha, they do not know how to think rationally. They just work according to a very simple few mechanisms. Now, our main topic, we are now dividing this body and mind using this template, which is the 6 elements. Now, Apo. Now, let's start with Patavi. Now we are getting all the Patavi out of our system. In our body, we have Patavi, the hardness. And if we get it out, there's no difference between the Patavi nature, Pataviness of the world or the earth or in the nature and the Patavi nature of us. There's no difference. They all have the same origin as well. See, our mother, when we were in her womb, she ate the Patavi nature she ate food which also came from animal matter and plant-based diet. And these things created our body. And we were born, and then after that we had food from the outside world. And the rest of the food went out as fecal matter, and the Patavi which is remaining created this body. And after death, the Patavi which is remaining in this body would join the Patavi of the earth. So there's nothing called my Patavi. It is actually a part of nature. It obeys the laws of nature. It obeys to the gravity. When it is heated, it obeys to the laws of physics. There's nothing different, nothing in that part, or in the part called Patavi, that we can isolate and say that this is my Patavi. There's nothing in that. So the Patavi is not then that valuable, the valuable and valuable part, or part that is full of essence, part that we think that is able to control according to our expectation. It is not Patavi. So we have eliminated one. Then we'll go for Apo. We have blood, and most of it is Apo. We have tears, urine, and there are a lot of sweat. There are a lot of parts in our body which are predominantly Apo. And this Apo also coming from the environment, just like Patavi, because of our mother, because of us taking water and watery food. This Patavi, some of it is lost as urine and through fecal matter, and rest is there in our body. And after we die, they also will join the Patavi or the Apo of the earth. Water will join to the water. And you would not be able to isolate that, saying that this is my Apo. Again, it all the Apo in our body, in others' bodies, and in the environment follows the rules of nature. Has the boiling point, has the melting point, is the same. When if you boil it, it would boil, just like any other Apo. So you can eliminate that part as well, because there's nothing different other than the Apo nature in the environment. So it is just a compilation of Apo and Patavi in different ratios in different places, creating this body. Other than that, there's nothing else. There's this Tejo nature. Tejo is created because of the metabolic activities, metabolism in our body, especially in the liver and due to the digestion of food and due to cellular activities. Tejo or heat energy is created. And this energy is lost to the environment when the environment is cold. And when the environment is warm, the temperature or the heat energy from the environment enters our body and increases our temperature. And this is in equilibrium. There's nothing called my Tejo. You cannot isolate and say that this special quality is there in my Tejo and the rest of the Tejo does not have it. It's the same Tejo. So the third one is also gone. The fourth one is Vayo. The Vayo nature, there are different spaces in our body, especially its expiration and inhalation has Vayo, a gas. And also in the digestive system, we have Vayo. And also in other small cavities that we have in our body also have Vayo. And there's nothing different, just the same pattern with the Vayo in the environment and in the Vayo in our body. It's the same thing. Now we eliminate that part as well. Could not isolate a single part that is very important, that is valuable. But we give value. That's the problem. The Patavi in the environment is not valuable, but the Patavi in our body is valuable because we think that it is ours. So if there's a cut in your finger, then the physical pain is one thing, but the mental pain, you're thinking that it would get infected, it would uh, it would hurt so much, and the person who did it, everything, all the mental suffering is coming because of this value. And if somebody's nails were clipped and kept on your palm, you would not like that. But if your nails were cut, your nails were clipped and kept on your palm, that is not a problem. That apo, that patavi is not a problem, but other person's patavi, you think that it's other person's, but it's the same thing. is a problem. It creates negative feelings. So again, it's the same for other bodily fluids and things as well. It's the same Patavi in a rock and in other excretory products, but you'd perceive them differently. But for an Arihat, he would not. That's the difference. An Arihat would not see a difference between this Patavi in our body and Patavi in the external world. That's why he is full of bliss. These things cannot bother that kind of a that developed mindset. So now we have to understand that we are giving a special value to the Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu that is in our body. That is not rational. That is not a wise thing. Again, after these four items, we have Akasa, which is the space that it occupies. We have Akasa or space in our nasal cavities, lungs, and also as a whole body, we occupy a space in the infinite space. So that is also no difference from the space, the rest of the space. So cannot say that it is also a valuable part. So when you isolate and see like this, you understand that Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Patavi, and Akasa are just part of nature, and you should not feel happy or you should not feel negative about any of that. And it obeys the laws of nature and does not obey your commands. You're wanting, you say that this should happen this way. This Patavi should work this way. Patavi should last forever. This Apo should have a boiling point like this and a melting point like this. This Vayo should not get compressed. It should be like Patavi. These things would not happen because you like it or don't like it. It has its own nature. Your Patavi or our body does not have any difference. Now this is what we need to understand. Now we'll go for the last part. If we could not find a valuable part here as well, then using the two examples which we discussed earlier, the bicycle and the sand mountain of sand, you can understand that it is also a delusion or illusion that is seen because of things coming together. So, Vijnana. Vijnana is the consciousness. We are conscious about what? We are conscious about the neutral nature. Now we are going for the dependent origination or Paticcasamuppada. We are conscious about the neutral feeling. Right now, we can be neutral. All right, well, now we can be getting a blissful feeling. There are three types of feelings. It can be blissful, it can be neutral, or it can be suffering. The consciousness is actually about being conscious about the blissful feelings, being conscious about the neutral feelings, being conscious about the suffering feelings. That is everything about consciousness. There's nothing else in the consciousness. Either you are feeling a neutral feeling right now and you are conscious about it, either you are feeling a blissful feeling right now and you are conscious about it, or it can be about the suffering feelings. So, how does these feelings come? It comes due to touch. If touch occurs and the touched item is something that gives a blissful feeling, the blissful touch would give blissful feeling, and you would be conscious about that you are receiving a blissful feeling. See, now this is a dependent origination, or this is causes creating effects. Where's the where's the control according to your expectation? Suffering feelings create suffering touch create would create suffering feelings, and it would generate a consciousness about that you are receiving a suffering feel. Neutral touch would create a neutral feeling, and that would create a consciousness that you are receiving a neutral feeling. And this touch is due to the collision of external and internal objects, which is I seeing images. Now, do you have what images, and you have control over what images you see? You try to control and you try to see. You try all the time to see only see good things. But there's nobody who has succeeded. You encounter bad images, things that you don't like to see. It is the same for the other six side organs: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So we know that this collision of external and internal organs actually happens due to the karmic energy. The energy that we, of course, us has created during the past samsaric journey, coming back to us again, just like a boomerang coming back towards us after it is being released only by us. So it is coming back to us. If we have done good deeds, good results would come. If we have done bad, negative, unwholesome deeds, negative results would come. And there are things in between. So there's a whole spectrum of vipaka, or the results or the consequences due to karmic, due to actions we have done in the past. And see, now this is this there's no controlling over your on your expectations in the vijnana part as well. Vijnana is something occurring due to causes and effects. See, you want to drink a cool glass of water, a cool um, you want to drink a cool glass of water, and there's water in the refrigerator. You think, now that came because you have you have this memory that you have put a bottle of water in the refrigerator before. Now that came into your mind. Now, unluckily, somebody has taken that out, that water bottle, and a similar kind of a bottle full of what kind of, or full of a strong acid has been put on the same place that the water bottle was. And it looks like the same. There's no difference. It's the same colorless liquid. So, being certain that there's a bottle of water in the refrigerator, you open it, you take it, and without thinking, you just pour it in your mouth. Now your mouth starts burning. Now your expectation was to drink water, and you are 100% certain that it is water. It was water, but it was not. See, the plan is different for you. You have done various, let's say, we have done various unethical deeds. unwholesome acts during this sansaric journey, and we have done similar kind of act. Okay, we cannot say what is exactly the cause, but a negative cause that we know. And due to that, when the urge to drink comes to your mind, the mind that came, the mind that was generated, has this idea you want to drink cool water. And all the plan has been set for that negative experience to be um, earned. So that the other external okay, process also has been occurring. The person has taken the bottle and replaced it with something else, and he also did not know that, didn't do it with bad intentions. He was just doing it because thought it was something he has to do. Now everything were happening, synchronizing together to give that negative experience, and you are being conscious about that, and that is vinyan. And you think you are able to drink water according to expectation, but the expectation is one thing, the plan for you is something else. Because you have a different wrong idea, wrong perception about this word, we suffer. It starts with disappointment. You get disappointed. If you knew that this is the nature of the world, you have no control over what you expect, no control over what happens, and there's no connection between your expectation and what happens. Expectation is due to ignorance. What happens is due to causes and effects. So if you knew that, you'd not get disappointed. You'd see that I have done something bad in the past and it is coming back to me like a boomerang, and this is the world. The only option is the elimination of this samsaric journey. Then that bad negative karmas would not be able to come to this combination of five aggregates or this body and mind and create suffering feelings. Suffering feeling is bad. It is not a good thing. That is why we are going to eliminate this samsaric journey, because we have no control of what would happen on depending on our expectation. And so we are eliminating expectation. That would stop the samsaric journey, and that would end this suffering once and for all. So that now we know that Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Akasa, and Vijnana all are parts of nature. Touch, due to touch, created the corresponding feeling, leading to corresponding consciousness. That is a machine or a things happening due to causes. One set of causes creating effects, and those effects become causes for the next effect. And this continues, a chain of effects. And when this happens in a very high speed, we think that there's a person or something that is not understood, that is not seen, called my soul inside this, which can control this body and mind. But this control, which we see through our five senses, which are also creations of avidya, is due to that illusion, just like the bicycle. When things come together in the correct places, you see a bicycle. When Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavya, Akasa, Vijnana comes together in their correct places, in their correct ratios, in their correct assembly, then we see a functioning human and we think there's something inside. But there's nothing like that. So this is what we have to understand. And the thing is, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, Patavi, Akasa, and Vijnana. These are all components of nature. And we are the delusional self or the bicycle like mindset, the thing that is created in the process, is what tries to take ownership of it. See, now there's my house, my vehicle, my spouse, my children. There are living things that are mine, that belongs to me. There are non-living things that belong to me, and we are trying to isolate me here. And there are things in my body, parts in my body, they are also my parts. See, my hand, my leg, my eyes, my heart, my kidney, everything is my. And again, my mind, where is me? Everything is my. And the thing is, this my is delusional. It's made of an illusion, me. And there are a lot of things that belong to this illusion, which is called me. Now, we have a lot of things, we are trying to buy things. So if we do not know, we do not understand the initial problem or the where the root is, this delusional idea blooms like a tree and it controls us, and all the time the result would be always suffering, because the starting point itself is a lie. So that is what we need to understand here. That is why it is not suitable to take this combination as me. But of course, we are using the word or the sound me to call or to express, to communicate. That is not a problem. The problem is the hidden idea that there's a value, that there's something that is able to control according to our expectation, and expectation itself or the wanting itself is a problem, because you cannot have something according to your wanting. The only thing that you would get is the disappointment. When things go right, you would be happy, but that happiness is not because the result is due to the wanting. It is because the causes are aligned, giving the effect. So you are being happy for something that is not due to what you wanted, but due to causes and effects. You are being happy that you cannot have any control over expectation. See, when somebody is tricking you, say somebody lies and tells that this is yours, this house is yours, at that point you would be very happy. And is that happiness uh, worth hanging on to? No, it is not, because it's a lie. Somebody sells you a house for a very cheap price, and you buy the house and you are being very happy, but it is not legally uh, given to you. It is a scam. That happiness is real at the beginning. You are being happy, yes. But if you know the reality, if you know that this is what is happening, would you still decide it's okay, I was happy at that time? Would you decide like that? No, it's not. It's not the way that the world works. You would be so deceived, so betrayed. You feel so betrayed. You feel so scammed, and you would not. You'd feel like a fool that you were happy that this house was yours. Just like that, when the things go right, you can be happy, and you would think that it is something to be happy about. But it is not because of your wanting or your expectations got right, got successful, but it is due to causes creating effects. It is due something else. See, you did not own that house. It was just a scam. You are happy, of course, because you are ignorant. But when you realize that it is not yours, when you are happy that your body works all the time, as you say, when you want to raise your hand, when you want to walk, when you want to do anything, the body works correspondingly, and you are so happy. But the day you have a stroke, the day you meet with an accident and your limbs do not work anymore, that is the time you know that you are betrayed all this time with ignorance. The sad part is, without a Supreme Buddha's teaching, you'd not be able to understand that as well. You are living in a house that do not belong to you. You are scammed and you do not know that you are scammed. And you are suffering because of that. So that is what you need to understand. That is why it is not suitable to take this combination, compilation as me. Then why it is not suitable to take it as mine? Because again, you are taking things into your responsibility, which does not have any control over your wanting. So you buy a puppy or you buy a dog. Now you think that this dog belongs to you because you buy it, because you paid the price. But you bought something that has no control over your expectation. You expect it to uh, be behaved, but that dog goes to the next house and eat that person alive, bite that person. It goes and do something that is inappropriate in a other person's garden. Then what would happen? Then you are taking responsibility now, because the reality is you cannot take responsibility because it does not belong to you. There's you cannot control it according to expectations or wanting. It is it is working according to causes and effects, just like everything else. The problem is, before it becoming your dog, it was just a dog. And if just a dog or a stray dog went to the neighbor's house and started biting that person, you would not feel responsible for it. That is the problem. When that dog gets sick, when that dog starts getting old, when that dog dies, all those times you'd feel sad, suffer. You are suffering because of that. But you would not feel that for a stray dog. See, when you think and you decide that these things are belong to me, that is the door of suffering that you are opening. It's the same for your child. It's the same for your spouse. It's the same for all the non-living belongings that you have. Your house, your vehicle, when it meets with an accident, you feel it. You feel sad and you feel responsible. But when you see an accident on the road, side of the road, two vehicles have collided and there's a lot of damage. Don't feel that pain. But the person who owns that would feel. See, this is a problem in your mind. We have this mental construct that we own things. And depending on that, we decide that it becomes your responsibility. When it becomes your responsibility, you would act upon that, or you would do anything that is possible to maintain that item according to your wish, according to your wanting. And it is just a tug of war. You cannot win because your expectation, your um, your effort that you put to keep these things in control, in line, would not work. They would deteriorate however much you try to maintain. They would get destroyed, they would be stolen, they would break, they would um, thousand and one things can happen to them, and you don't have any control over what would happen. So that is like hugging fire. See, everything in this world is like fire. It is okay to see at the fire. No, you are just watching at the fire from a distance. That is okay. Or you are using the fire with caution. That is okay. You are using your house without getting attached. You are using your vehicle without getting attached because you know you are working with fire. But as soon as you decided that you should hug the fire, then is the problem. When you get attached, you get burnt. What are the flames that you would get burnt? Flame of raga, flame of dvesha, flame of moha, flame of jati, flame of jara, or flame of deterioration, flame of marana, flame of death or destruction, flame of sorrow, flame of lamentation, flame of physical pain, flame of mental suffering, and flame of despair. There are 11 flames, not only a single one, not a single flame, but 11 flames that you would get burnt if you started hugging these items which are originally not belong to you. So this is the problem. When you started taking things as mine, you are deciding or you are signing for a contract with with avidya or with nature that you are okay with burning with 11 flames. So yes, you can have a way because you have to use these things. You have to use clothes, you have to use food, you have to use houses, you have to use medicine, and these are essential. Otherwise, we would be in pain, we would be in hunger, thirst. It is not possible. So we are using them, but without hugging, because they are fires, they are flames. Should not hug. This is what we need to understand. Anything can be a fire. Anything can give suffering. The only thing that you need to do is you just need to get attached. It can be for a bin of garbage. Say if the value for garbage, let's say there was a special gas that was discovered, invented by scientists that can be made from fecal matter. Now fecal matter becomes very valuable because it makes a very rare gas or a very important gas or something, or something important comes out of that. So people would start stealing or doing anything to grab onto that. So see, you just have to apply value, whether it can be garbage, whether it can be rocks, whether it can be stones, whether it can be metal like gold. You just have to apply a value in your mind. And when the rest of the world also believes it, this delusional idea intensifies and it becomes strong. See, just a stone in the soil can kill people. It's just a stone, but there's something shiny about it. We called it a gem, and people kill for it, kill for them. People work so hard to obtain one of those, and people start protecting with guns to save or protect a small piece of stone. This is because of ignorance. So this is why it is not suitable to take it as mine. Now we know why it is not suitable to take it as me. Now why know why it is not suitable to take it as mine. And there's no one single big unit that lasts throughout the samsara or throughout this lifetime. That is, there's not this is not suitable. It is not suitable to take this as a self or a soul. We don't have something uniform throughout this lifetime. To understand this, we have to understand the viparinama nature or deterioration. It might not be the ideal word, but there's no ideal word in this language, in English language. So we'll use this word because it is the it is uh, it is what is the closest we can get. So to understand this, we have discussed this before, but to make this a complete discussion, we'll go through it again. So we'll have to understand the mechanism how a flame works. Now, when you put oil into a lamp, a small oil lamp, and when you put a wick, and when you light up at the wick at the end, this you can see a beautiful flame, a yellow orangish flame at the end of the um, oil lamp at the end of the wick. Now we'll see how this flame works. Now see, you saw a birth of a flame when you started lighting it. You saw the birth, and at the end, when the oil just all the oil are gone, this would die or the flame would die. That is the death. You see a birth and you see a death, and in between you saw a uniform one single flame. Now this is the same for our mind and body, or us as well. So that's why we are trying to use this example to reflect on us and see our story. So what is the reaction happening at the end of this week? Oil molecules are being broken down to water and carbon dioxide with the use of oxygen and with the use of heat energy. See, the first oxygen molecule and first oil molecule reacted together, creating first carbon dioxide molecule and first water molecule, releasing energy in the form of fire. And we see the first flame. Now, this is due to causes and effects. Now, the causes are the heat of the fuel and oxygen. And the results is the flame, carbon dioxide, and water. So now what we see is the flame. So we'll say the result is the flame. The flame number 1 was created with oxygen number 1 and the oil molecule number 1. But the thing is, oil molecule number 1 and oxygen molecule number 1 was changed into something else. So now the causes are no more there. So now the effect also cannot last. So the flame 1 also dies because the causes are no more there. So the next oxygen molecule number 2, and the oil molecule number 2 reacts again because of the concentration gradient. It comes to the end of the week, and because of the heat energy there, the reaction starts again, creating a next flame, that is flame number 2. So now this is what you have to see with wisdom, not with your naked eyes, because in your naked eye you would always get deceived by the actions of avidya, because your eyes were created with avidya, and the flame also is created with avidya. So you cannot decipher this problem. You cannot see through it using the 5 senses. You just have to use your wisdom. So now you see that this flame, number 1, number 2, and this goes on. For one single second, millions and billions of flames would occur. And now we see this with wisdom, not with our eyes. So now we know there's no single uniform flame between its birth and death. It was just a generation of flames, different from different from each other, because because their causes were different. Of course, the effect should be different. But see, but because the effect looks like the same, it's just like clones of the same person. If you clone the same person, or let's say you have identical twins, both would look the same, but it's not the same individual. Just like that, flame 1, flame 2, flame 3, they look all the same, but they were different flames. We have to see this with wisdom. So just like that, this life is also something like that. We see a birth, we see a death, and we see a uniform person, an individual, a soul that lasts throughout this lifetime, uniform, one big unit. And that is a lie. Lie because we are taking inputs from our 5 senses. But when we use the wisdom, we see that it is not true. See, to open these eyes, to talk like this, I have to open my mouth. If the result or the effect which is created after at the opening of the mouth, so now the effect is an opened mouth, a person with an opened mouth. If that did not deteriorate, you'd not be able to close that mouth because it's already opened and it is not getting the old, or it is not deteriorating. It's not, the jara nature of this world is not occurring, then it would be fixed and you would not be able to close your mouth. Again, the mindset at that moment would be there forever without being able to think anything else. Your mind is fixed, your body is fixed, you are like a stone, you are like a rock. So it is not how the world works. The things that are created gets deleted, and this is you have to see with wisdom. See, that's how the oceans or the waterfalls fall down. Wind blows from high pressure to low pressure because this is not fixed. This the world is um, it is a process. It works. It is evolving. So evolving nature is seen because the whatever that gets created is deteriorated and leaves room for the next thing to happen. See, when you are creating or when you are preparing, making ice at your house, you put water in that container in the refrigerator and put it in the deep freezer of the refrigerator. And when the ice are made, you cannot make ice again without removing that already made ice, because ice is cubes of ice occupy that holes of the container. So you have to remove that. Then only you can put uh, water in those holes again and put it in the deep freezer again so that you can have the next batch of ice cubes. And you have to repeat this if you want to get more and more ice cubes. Just like that. When you open your mouth, if this did not get deteriorated, you would not be able to close it and you would not be able to think. So it is how the world works. The flame one, flame two, like that happened. Our body also works like me one, me two, me three, me four. Likewise, it goes. So you are since there are billions and millions of copies are formed and deleted in a single second. You have to see this with wisdom because you will not be able to see it with any machines or with your naked eye. Since that process is happening, you are able to talk, you are able to walk, you are able to think one thing after another, and there's nothing uniform in that. But the uniformity comes due to the 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 the, the delusion or illusion it makes because it looks like the same. The person in the beginning, the small child, on the next day also, he looks like that small child on the previous day. But after, let's say, you meet that small child after 50 years, now he has become a person of middle age. Now you would not be able to identify that person because there is no uniform thing in that small child which lasted for 50 years that you can identify. It has changed. The child has changed, but that person would use the same name. So then you would be able to identify, oh, this is the same person. Now you have become very old. I only have seen you when you were at the age of 2. But you decide that while you are in that delusional idea. That's why people would not understand this. Still you would decide, or still you would get to conclusions with that delusional idea in you. So that is why you should not that is why it is not suitable to take this as one single unit, one big single unit which lasts forever or which lasts from birth to death. Actually, this is something which does not even last for 1 second. It is a process, a cascade of causes and effects creating an illusional self that who can um, work according to the expectation. Now, this can be a deep explanation, but this is very important in the understanding of Arya Dhamma. This is the actually the purest of it, or the most deep and most important part of it. If somebody is able to understand this part, not with logic but with wisdom, then that person is able to um, do the rest of the or complete the rest of the pathway without help from another. So this is what we are going to discuss today, and uh, we just try to go through the philosophy or the mechanism here or the understanding here, but we did not focus on the methodology or the Aryatanka Magga. And if somebody if I explain it very briefly, when after one understands this, he would the value given to the world would reduce. World means not only the external but also your body and your mind. See, the value given to the your body parts, eyes, ears, and everything would also reduce. When this reduce, this would take time depending on the level of wisdom. Even few lifetimes can take. And however, if when this happens, the value would reduce. You would see that this world is there's nothing to bond onto. There's nothing to get attached. There's nothing full of or essential. There's nothing um, meaningful in the sense that when you see it with wisdom, you see the pointless nature, because it is just like everything. You cannot hang on to anything. Just gets deleted all the time, creating suffering as soon as you clinged, got attached. So when you see that this when the level of attachment starts reducing, that itself is the reduction of suffering, because attachment is the reason for suffering. So the level of suffering would start to reduce, and this is a pathway to blissfulness, not a pathway to suffering. So with each step you take in this Arya pathway, the blissfulness would start to grow and would end in Arihat state, which is the total elimination or annihilation of raga, dvesha, and moha. And after that, you would be having the body, and that karma would, the past uh, uh, energies or results of past actions you have done with good actions and bad actions would still come, because still the mechanism is intact, your body is intact, your mind is intact. All the negative and positive karma which you have generated in the sansari journey would still come. But at the end of this mechanism, or the end of this system, since you have no attachment to anything else, another system would not be created based on the energy that is in the system, because there's no energy at the moment, because there's zero raga, zero desha, and zero moha. So this sansaric journey would cease to exist. And since there's no body and a mind, or in other words, a body and a mind is not created again, there's no way for the karmic energy flow to come to us, so that good, blissful, and bad, suffering Vedanas, and also the neutral Vedanas are felt with the consciousness. So that story ends. And that is the ultimate blissfulness. That is the supreme blissful Nibbana that one attains. And that is the end of the discussion. If you have any questions, that this is the time for questions.
Are there any questions from the audience? Mr. Gurutunga, you can ask from any other Sinhalese if you want to. Okay, since there are no questions, I have a question actually. I think there's a general concept of soul in other religions, and Hinduism. There's something what you call soul or Atman, going from one life to the other, and also in other religions there's something called soul. And how would you distinct what you're talking about here from those concepts of soul?
Yeah. So now, if somebody has not opened the eyes of wisdom, originally they falls onto this idea of something uniform, lasting from birth to death. Depending on their viewpoints, it can be from birth to death, or it can be forever. We call it Uchcheda Ditti and Sasata Ditti, the two ends. So you either fall onto one end or the other, and you decide that there's something uniform that lasts throughout this lifetime, or this throughout this throughout or forever, and decides that it is what um, now when it is about forever, it is what goes from this lifetime either to hell or to heaven, or or this is what it is, this is what you need to take to the hell or heaven. So that is why those individuals would do good deeds, meritorious deeds, because they have this idea that there's some one single unit, one single uniform thing that lasts forever. But what we understand is there's nothing that lasts even a single second. It is a cascade of events. Now, since the others could not understand this theory, they don't understand this phenomenon without a supreme Buddha, they would decide, and based on this ideology, they would come to conclusions, and these various practices would come to exist. But when you see with wisdom, this would not take any other thing, any other devices, any other. You don't have to follow a ritual. You don't have to follow some procedures, or you don't have to wait until you die. You just have to have wisdom, and you just have to have a good mind that can think. Then you would be able to understand that this is real at real time. You would be able to identify this real time. You would be able to understand this, and you would be able to get to the right conclusion based on that. So I hope what you asked us about these souls and everything which are being described in most of the most by other individuals. So the story of that is it is actually in our understanding, it is due to the uh, the mind which is not opened up with the wisdom. That is the reason for such thing.
Thank you. So essentially, when people see a self or a soul, that means they are determining that based on avijja or moha, because they have not seen what is the reality, and is
Yeah.
that the explanation?
Yeah, don't get me wrong here. So the thing is, you can use the words. There's nothing wrong with using words. Words are just sounds. Sounds are not what we are going to eliminate in understanding Dhamma. What we are going to eliminate is the hidden hidden emotion or hidden feeling that is embedded in this sound. So you can use the same term as use the soul and talk that this I have to get my life together. I have to get my I have to buy some groceries. I have to buy a vehicle. There's nothing wrong with using the language. The thing is, when you have that avijja along with these words, along with these expressions, then you have attachment because you have value in them. When you have attachment, then you have already created the cause for suffering, then you are suffering. So our basic goal is to end the suffering. So to end the suffering, you need to know this, that attachment is not good. You cannot just get rid of attachment saying that it is not good, because if that is the case, then this body and mind would be a very blissful one, because you can have something according to your wanting. Because so it is not going to work that way. You have to know what is the cause for attachment and get rid of the cause. So when the cause is gone, so the actually cause is already gone when you see the light of wisdom, or when you see the vijja. So when you see the vijja, avidya is no more there. So vijja, when vijja is there, you see that there's not, it is not suitable to take this as me, mine, or my soul or myself. And when depending on that, the value is coming to zero. When the value is zero, the attachment would not occur. When the attachment would not is not there, the suffering would not occur. And that is our ultimate goal. So we do not do it according to our wanting, but it was, we knew the process, and the process was manipulated, or the reality was known, and the rest of it was happening according to a cascade of causes and effects.
Bumping onto me. So we have had almost 2 hours in discussion, and I think it is time to wrap up this. And I respectfully invite you to pass the merits and conclude this discussion for the day. Thank you.
So today we discussed a very important topic, and in this discussion, our main focus was to open our eyes of wisdom, and for the ones who have opened the eyes of wisdom to complete the rest of pathway and attain nibbana. And the kaya karma, vachi karma, and mano karma, or the thoughts, actions, and words that were used today throughout these 2 hours were the highest meritorious deeds that we can do in this universe. Because um, thinking about the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature of this world is the highest meritorious deed, which is immeasurable, that we can generate in this universe. And we have done that throughout this time. And the meritorious power that we have generated throughout this uh, meritorious deed may create the perfect background for everyone, removing all the hindrances, barriers to complete the Arya pathway, revealing the pure and supreme Arya Ashtangika Magga, or a noble eightfold pathway, and may everyone be able to complete the Arya pathway, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana with these meritorious powers. Accept this blessing with the sadhukar.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also, in this special occasion, let us remind all the people, all the individuals, sentient beings that have been helping us throughout the sansaric journey, especially the deceased relations of this life and also during the sansaric journey, and the people or the parents who have parents of this type and other previous lives, and teachers, and the ones who have given us jobs, and also the ones who were around us helping us, like spouses, children, uh, and relations, neighbors, and also the ones who has constructed our houses, workplaces, and roads and everything, and also the ones who were hurted and harmed by our actions. Especially with avidya, we did not know what is right and what is wrong. So, thinking that this is right, we and this is wrong, we acted with or unwholesome deeds, and they were our basic tools of survival back in the day during the sansaric journey. And there might have been people, individuals who have been hurted and harmed due to these actions. And let us remind all of them in this special occasion. And also the ones who helped us have this discussion without any problem. The people who constructed these temples, the ones who are maintaining these connections, internet connections, and who spend their righteous money to buy these devices and everything. Let us remind all of them in this special occasion. And also the ones and the deities of six realms of gods and 20 planes of Brahma, and also the ones, also all the sentient beings in the universe. With metta and kindness, let us remind all of them in this special occasion where we have generated immeasurable amounts of merits. May they rejoice in these meritorious deeds. May they refrain from doing sins. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds. And may they lead happy lives, ultimately understanding the reality of the world, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana, and transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness with the sadhukar.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we will be ending this Dhamma discussion with a Pali blessing at the end. Abhivadana Siddhissa Nichang Vaddhapachayano Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukham Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Silavantaṃ gunavantaṃ puñaketaṃ anuttarang dullabhena maya laddhaṃ pasitum vanditum varang Sariputtadi terānaṃ āgataṃ patipātiya saddhā sīlaṃ dayāvāsaṃ buddhaputtaṃ namāmahaṃ. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Theruvan Saranai.
Everyone,